Yes, let's record it. So my name is Marco Cilepi. I'm from Italy, but I live, as Luigi was mentioning, in Katowice, in Poland, since basically 2011. So it's 11 years. And I work for Capgemini Business Services. So Capgemini, you may have heard, is one of the biggest consulting company in the world. And sorry, we have some microphone to mute. So it will be, I think, it will be, yeah, I think. Hi, guys. So I think you can hear me now, but we don't have any more background sound, I suppose. Okay, so we'll go ahead. And yes, so who is me? I'm Marco. I work for Capgemini, and as you can see, I'm also cooperating with some masters in different universities in Italy and Poland to support basically just graduates to find their path, their career path in the beginning, at the beginning of their career. The last thing I will show you about LinkedIn, that is maybe something you never noticed. It took a while for me to realize it, is that you can actually you can download your CV. Okay, you see, when you click here on more, you can save your profile into PDF, or you can even build a resume using LinkedIn. So this is, also, maybe for more experienced people, when you really don't want to have, or you don't need a CV, let's say a brand new, and now LinkedIn is very powerful. So, this is always an option that you can use, you can play a little bit with it. Okay, I will now jump to my presentation. Let me go from the beginning. Okay, so about writing an effective CV. So I like to mention that this is a presentation I'm doing together with my colleague Nicola in the Rome Business School. So first of all, let's start from with some statistics, right? So remember that there are a lot of today there are really a lot of applicants, and normally it's always a mutual relation. The link between a recruiter and an applicant is always mutual, but normally it happens that, for certain role, especially the junior ones. So I suppose my audience today, it's more just graduate and junior people. So it's always more applicants, and usually it takes really the first 10 seconds, maybe average 7 seconds to spend on your CV. So having it short, clear, and precise in one, maximum 2 page, it's always, I think, an additional value. And now we will discover that really we need to focus on keywords, on maybe specific, maybe sometimes also the picture, some elements that catch the attention of the recruiter, of the eye, of the one who is examining your CV. So here you can see that there is this eye tracking technique, where really it's like when you're answering a phone call. I mean, in theory, the first thing that you ask is, what's your name? Why you're calling, right? And it's the same with the CV, right? It's a name, of course, will be something that always we will keep an eye. Maybe location, and sometimes the last position that should always be on top, of course, the dates. So it's very important. I would also add, guys, the location. It's important because sometimes, it makes sense to say I was in Paris, I was in Milan, I was there, I was here, I was traveling among different countries. So it's an additional information that, it's important to know if this person, it gives us an idea if this person, if this candidate is, a person who is willing to, to travel, or is, open for a changing country, or stuff like this. Of course, the previous jobs, and the same approach with education. I mean, I'm not a big fan of putting all the courses that we ever did, but for sure, universities, master degree, bachelor degree, not always the secondary school can make sense. It depends actually from the application, but yeah, we can add a note about that, because it will also give an idea about, the background. And on top of this, that are very standard things, then, what will make the difference are the keywords. So on this description that will be on the CV, to put those words that we will discover together match with the job description, right? Okay, so definitely, we're playing our chance in these first 10 seconds, right? That are, of course, the output of, I will say, a couple of hours of preparation, at least, of the CV. If you will like, we can, and we will have time, we can also talk about the motivation letter, the introduction letter. So maybe I will first ask you at the end of the CV session, what is your feeling? What do you, if you do it, what do you think? If it's something, for you, it's worth or not. So what will make the difference between a winning CV or a loser CV? Keywords. So what means a keyword, right? So keywords are these specific words that are really linked with a specific job, or this specific skill that mainly sometimes can be technological term, can be name of a software, it can be a specific certification or a product, and this will be really what the recruiter, but also we will discover the robot will detect, and will make you be a winner CV or a loser CV. So the most, maybe a little bit obvious thing, but it's worth to say, is that your CV should always be tailored with the offer. So we cannot have a standard CV that we send to everyone. And of course, I'm not saying that we should make a new CV every time. My suggestion is to have a Word document that we can modify and then print in PDF. Or if you're using some specific portal or softwares, then you save your template, and when you're going to apply to some job, you go there and you click and you adjust the keywords according to the description. So this is the real link. So basically, what is the first step to create a winning CV is the job description, as we said. So we will find the keywords in the description of the job that we are applying for. Okay, so what you can do is just prepare a list that could be of these words that could be inserted in the CV when you are explaining your previous task, or when you are putting at the beginning of the CV the explanation about who you are, right? So this is with or without the ITS, that is this automatic tracker, so let's call it a robot, who is assessing sometimes the CV when there are many applications. It will be anyway a great practice, and for sure I can assure it will be noticed, and it will be probably a winning practice for the recruiter who is assessing your application. And let's see now an example, right, of this. So, for example, we have a job here as a marketing assistant, and definitely, in the job description, you will see what is about, right? So definitely, okay, marketing assistant is the job title, but then, content, campaign, okay, the word marketing, of course, communication, CRM, digital. So these are the words that, of course, it makes sense, now to find in our CV, even if you don't have a specific experience as marketing assistant. So of course, you don't have to already have this, in your CV, otherwise it will be really hard. It can be even better, but not always, people apply horizontally. So if you're a marketing assistant, you're gonna maybe apply for being a marketing leader, right? So I'm talking about, if you are a student, maybe you studied something in marketing, or maybe you had some, university job, some, little project. So this is where you will build these, keywords in your CV. Here we have, for example, the responsibilities of the job. So it's really task by task, what you're gonna do. That, of course, in your mind, you're gonna compare with what you have done. And maybe you will be able to match one or two, or even all of them, right? But here you can see, for example, Google My Business. This is the software, right? This Google tool, or promotional plan. This will be maybe something you will be asked to do as a marketing assistant. Graphic, right? Image, definitely, campaign, social. So these are the keywords. And here you have also, the name again of the Photoshop, Illustrator. So all these softwares, they made a difference. If you never used, my recommendation, before to apply for such a job, go to some, free, or okay, you can pay for it, platform, and get a course, right? So whenever you know that for this job, it's optimal. So maybe it's not mandatory, but it's optimal to get Photoshop knowledge, but you never really used in a real experience, but of course, what is it? Go for a training, and then you will make a training, and you will add in your CV as IT knowledge, for example, or software knowledge, training in Photoshop. You put the dates, so it will be really, a game changer, because not only you will meet the keyword, but also the recruiter will feel, okay, this person knows what we're talking about. Okay, maybe you will not be at the same level with somebody who already worked with it, but still you are, getting up compared to somebody like you 1 hour ago that never used it, right? So these are some tricks that can really apply. And when you're applying for a job like marketing, of course, even using Facebook, Instagram, or this tool that we're not using really, it's more for pleasure, right? They became also professional tools. So if you're spending all your time on Facebook, maybe when you apply for such a job, it will be not so much waste of time, but it will come back useful. So same with Instagram, same with these social media that many people use for leisure, but now it became officially a business. Any questions so far? Feel free to interrupt. So what is an ATS? ATS is an applicant tracking system. Okay, so this is a software, and is is set up by the recruiter, and basically this will be in out. The software will just read word by word your CV, and if for example at least 50% of the expectation set up from the recruiter is not met, your application will automatically be trashed. Okay, so sometimes when you're not getting feedback, or when you're getting a discard email, you don't know why. It's probably because you didn't meet this 50% of keywords. Then 50% is our assumption, right? There may be also some companies who are setting up a limit of 70% or 80 or 30, right? It depends, but they're not gonna tell you this for sure. So how to check it? So we spoke so far how to prepare. So we said everything starts from job description, everything starts from writing the CV, putting these key keywords, and of course key sections. Then how can I check if I did it well or not? You can use some tools, and you can see here in this slide there are some tool that will help you to identify these keywords. And usually the output is such a graphic, right? So in your in this case, business and skills are the words that are more repetitive opportunities in the document that the tool was analyzing. Okay, so as we said, everything starts from the job description. So this is the most common mistake, to make an application in hurry, to just, attach always the same CV. And then, yeah, still you may have chance, but remember that, you will not have the same chance of compared to someone who didn't join this webinar today, or just simply didn't have time, or didn't, invest time adjusting and adding these keywords. And I mean, you can understand that it's not such a big deal. And anyway, whenever you will be doing the interview, you need to make this exercise, you need to prepare, right? Step by step on every task of the job description, and something that maybe you heard already, but I like to repeat it. When you do the interview, remember, try to write down at least one concrete example of every task. This will make it much easier, because what they're going to ask you is really some, competency question. So if there is in the job this description, so can you tell me an episode where you were doing it? So this is the classic question. Okay, so prepare this list, add them in the CV, and if possible, make some check on the web if it's which are the keywords in your CV. Okay, so now that you have the list of keywords, let's look together on how to build the CV. So as I said, there are also some tools. So me, I'm honestly, I'm fine with LinkedIn or the Word, the classic Word document that, handmade. I'm kind of a little bit old style. As you can see, I'm very, stable in my company. I'm growing, but I'm also applying for other job, and I'm using the LinkedIn one. But for sure, if you want to make something a little bit more fancy, a little bit more, specific, I would say, there are other website, our tools like JobsScan, CVScan, but many in the market. And this will really also tell you the correspondence about the job description and the keywords in your CV. So as we mentioned, there is no perfect CV, there is no standard CV. There is an effective and well done CV, especially ad hoc CV according to the job we are applying. Let's start from maybe most common errors, and I would love if you can also share your own experience. So this is an example that you have on the left, that we don't really need long CVs, like 3, 4, or 5 pages. Doesn't matter really also about your experience, because it would just be too much. It will be too much. I mean, it's really rare scenarios when it's worth to go over 2 pages. Usually, if you have the big experience, 1 page is enough. And something like this will really do the job. You may ask, should I put a picture? Shouldn't I? Me personally, I think it's okay to put a picture, but let's not hide it. When you're putting a picture, you are already, creating, an imagination on the person who is checking this picture. So, it's also true that, when you don't put the picture, it will be really only about the CV. So I think it's personal, right? So me, I will put the picture because, for me, it's already, this is me. Look at me, this is me, right? But it's completely okay to not put it, right? So it's really on you to, it tells about yourself. So if you decide to put or not this picture, it also, I think, tells a little bit about your way to, to see, your way to relate with everyday life. Here we have, for example, a little bit more, I would say, squeezed CV that still is it's fine, I would say. Of course, it should be also a little bit up to you if it's really, you know, 4 bullets, or maybe it can be 3 or 2, right? It's again something related with, you know, the job you're applying, because there is really no point in adding so many bullets if it's this task, it's not relevant for the job you're applying for, right? So this is always, you know, the question you need to try to answer. Does make sense? It's bringing value to my application? Because if it's not really a good relation, it doesn't make sense. I can give you an example. I remember someone who was applying for a sales, inside sales work for a company in Prague. And this person was, he was from Italy. He was working in London. It was an interesting profile. And he was working in Subway. You know Subway, right? It's this chain of sandwiches. And I think this was a good experience because, you know, he was doing this experience abroad. He was using English on a daily basis. He was interacting with customer, right? Then, of course, you know, it was not working in front of a computer. This job was inside sales. You work, of course, with your laptop. You work with customers. So it was worth to put this experience. But in the task, he was writing, doing sandwiches. And, you know, one remark we had for him was like, you don't need to write that you were doing sandwiches. I mean, probably you were doing sandwiches, but it's not really the game changer. It's not really what will make you get the attention of the recruiter or the manager. It's better to write interacting with customers, right? Because anyway, he was interacting, of course, with customer on a daily basis. So you see, little thing that can change, and of course, he got the job. So this is something I like to say, because he got the job. He was really happy. At the end, he was thanking us for this feedback. So again, simple. Try to really use also this, you know, bold and this underline whenever, you know, you think this is indeed a keyword. It will even help more. And yeah, and I will say that, you know, never forget about, you know, of course, all your data on top. You know, there could have been a picture in here, and of course, hobbies and certificates. This is also nice things to put, or like here, you know, the skills. So computer skills for sure. Something a little bit recently too obvious is these interpersonal skills. Everybody's putting in their CV that they are accurate, they're problem solving, team player, multitasking. It's just not true, right? It's not true. So for me, what my recommendation is really put it if this is really true, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. It confuses you, it confuses the recruiter, and then even if you get the job, and then you will realize the job for really somebody very multitasking or very work under stress, and then you will not be happy, right? So this is really something important. And maybe another remark about this French limited. For example, when you have some language skills that are not really, you know, it's like A1, A2, consider if it's worth or not to put, because sometimes I see CV with 7 languages and 5 of them A1 level. It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really sound, you know, consistent. Because if we speak A1, basically we don't speak. We're not proficient to work. So I wonder about the sense to put in all these languages. Okay. Then another classic that for sure you ever heard is the Europass. Okay, me personally, I'm not a big fan of the Europass, but still, many companies, they are fine, they're happy. Somebody is even requiring the Europass. It just, it's standardized. So here you can see all the experience, all the dates, task, place, very standard, and it's obsolete and maybe a little bit also ugly, like you can read. So honestly, it's up to you. The good thing is that you can do this on the portal. You can just print it, but now there are many other websites on top of Europass where you can do that. Okay, so now we can look on all the features that are important for the CV. So we said summary. Summary is this part at the beginning. Okay, for me, this is really, really important. You can also see in many LinkedIn profile, this is talking about yourself. So really make it yours and, you know, write in a, it can be really a little intro letter, who you are, what you're looking for. Of course, you're not gonna write here what you're already gonna write here, so what you were working or doing, but really usually here put who you are and ask yourself who you are and what you're looking for. So these are the two main questions that you should get in this summary in here or in here, right? Then work experience from the most recent. Maybe you can put some bold or some, you know, more let's say a remark, emphasis on the most relevant, but try to always go with a temporary from the most recent. And whenever you have some holes, some, I don't know, sabbatical period or some, you know, work that you don't think relevant, add a note. It's still better than, you know, leave it blank and make the recruiter wonder what was this person was doing. So this is really, really, you know, something. Even if you were traveling, write it there. I was traveling 6 months around the world. This is, I think, a great thing to write. So contact, of course, very obvious, email with country code. Don't forget email, a professional one. So I always think when I see some email like, I don't know, beautifulflower@gmail.com or warrior@gmail. Just put your name, surname if you can. If you have this, you know, different email, you can still keep for yourself, but maybe when you apply for a job, it makes sense to use a professional one. Then, of course, if you're applying for a job where, you know, creativity is key, so maybe, you know, also a creative email could say something about yourself. So I don't want to be, you know, strict in this. I'm just saying that, you know, it's something, you know, it catch the attention of the recruiter. Work experience, education, languages, definitely, you know, IT knowledge, interest, soft skills, they make the difference today, because hard skills you can still learn. Soft skills is something, you know, again, it's more about yourself. It's more about, you know, who you really are. As volunteering experience, it's also talking a lot about who you are, right? How you spend your free time. And sometimes for someone who doesn't have a lot of work experience, this volunteering experience is it's making the job, right? It's really pushing to, you know, through the application. And especially when you're just a graduate, most likely you will not have a lot of work experience. And it's, I know it's really not great to see nothing or just, you know, missing the work experience. So there's also maybe another message for you. If any student among you try to do some internship, try even for free, it can make sense, right? Then, you know, you may have this as a mandatory, but really, I'm not telling about, you know, working for free, but, you know, get some experience, find a way to get some experience, because this is really what then will help you to not only get more chance, but also to know better yourself and to understand what you like and what you don't. So it's really a mutual benefit. And yeah, of course, the personal authorization for data at the end of the CV. Okay, I don't see if questions, but I guess no. So I will move forward. So customize the CV. We spoke. Cut what is not relevant. We spoke. Bullet points, 2 or 3 for each experience. Use third person. I mean, never say me. It's a bit too strict, right? So let's not assume that, you know, we are the one with the absolute trust. So if you feel to talk in first person, I will say go for it. Summary, very important. As I said, it tells about you. Review, and of course, you don't need to put, specific logos or, symbols, let's say, for the company, but for sure it can make sense to add websites. I think it's nice. So that the recruiter can easily click and see, okay, let's see what is this company that the candidate was working for. Pick a font, keep a dimension, and make a good use of highlight and bold, because this is also very, very powerful in a CV, in an email, in a text. You can see now also on social media, right, that they also have these tools to use bold and bullets. So now let's explore step by step. So the photo, right? We're talking about this photo that it's a big no, for example, in those countries, because there can be this a little bit discrimination, right? But it's very popular in Europe, right? So again, my recommendation: follow your feelings. Follow your feelings. But if you go for the picture, definitely don't put a selfie, or don't put really a picture like you in the swimming pool, right? So just put a standard passport photo, but maybe not a picture of it, right? So the classic, neutral background against a white wall with your face, right? So a very, very natural one, but without, for example, sometimes I saw photo with sunglasses. It doesn't really, have much sense, right? Okay. As I said, contacts. So the date of birth, again, it's not really mandatory. So I usually will not put, right? Because anyway, we can understand how old if is an applicant according to his experience, right? Or according to when he finished studies, and there should be a date there. So honestly, I'm not a big fan of putting a date of birth. Nationality, it depends where you apply, and especially if you are, for example, not EU citizen, put it, because it will be also important for the recruiter, because sometimes if there is a need of additional work permit, they need to know, right? So for me, even if, for example, you are not European, but you have work permit for some reasons, add it, eligible to work in Europe, because this, for most of people not eligible, is a reason to get discarded, rejected. Phone number, email, LinkedIn, Skype. Yeah, Skype makes sense. I don't know if you have Skype, and it was popular, I think, a lot of time ago. Now, I think it's not so popular anymore because there is this, automatic Microsoft Teams that bought Skype, actually. So it's not really, the Skype app anymore. But still, if you have it, you can add. Most of times, you will just get, a Zoom link or a Teams link or a Google Hangout, Google Call link to join the interview. Summary. So we mentioned about this, your strength, your career goals. So this is really what makes the difference. Okay, maybe no more than 6 lines, indeed. And here you can see some examples. Okay, you can see you can add in here position or company, and where you feel strong, right? And based on what. So this is really a kind of intro letter. Okay. Here you're also putting what you want to do, right? Or what you are managed, what you achieved. Because look, 20%, something based on your experience, right? And also it's good to write when you're available. So obviously it requires updates, because you need to keep changing it, because your availability also will change. Here you have an example of education. So my recommendation, again, never forget to put location, because it makes sense when you studied abroad, when you did something in different universities, or when you did an Erasmus, or an internship abroad, something connected with your education. The internship can also fall down under work, of course. And here you can see, for example, a task, a list of tasks. So here, for example, we have a lot of tasks, right? So basically, I would expect to see all these tasks when you are applying for a job as a recruiter, right? So you were a recruiter and you are applying and you're explaining to the recruiter that you have experience doing all these tasks, right? Imagine you're not a specialist, but you're just an intern. Okay, so maybe you will have half of those, but still would be great to add because it's something you did, right? So try to always explain in your CV what you were doing, analyzing, coordinating, leading, supervising, managing, dealing. Okay. So this is the gerund is the key verb in this case. And yes, you can also use the past whenever it's something that was in the past. So you can also play with it with the current experience and past experience. Here you will just list all the tools. Okay, so you may remember that also Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they can be there. TikTok, I don't know. It can be here. It depends from where you're applying, right? Now there are jobs that are looking for these skills. Don't forget about, of course, Microsoft Office if you can use it, and some other name of softwares, but also in general skills like event organization, right? Languages. According, usually my recommendation, put this ABC instead of just the script completely, because you never know, right? So I think at least this is a recognized standard that will give an idea. So if you're really fluent, you're at C level. If you're intermediate, it's B. If you're beginner, is A. Interest. These are a lot. Okay, just pick some. In my opinion, it will be also, but of course, again, tell about yourself. It's not really a real rule. Soft skills. This is something I was mentioning at the beginning, right? So problem solving. When you're telling to a recruiter in your CV that you have problem solving skills, immediately prepare an example of when you were solving a problem. Or for example, teamwork. You're writing this on your CV, expect the question, give me an example of teamwork. Empathy. Give me an example where you had to use your empathy, or integrity, flexibility. This word in the CV, it tells nothing if it's not really something you can explain and tell, and expect this question, right? Because it also shows coherent and shows that you are prepared. Volunteering. So as I said, this will also open you some doors, some windows that you cannot access, you cannot enter because of lack of work experience. And I'm talking about, for example, working in team or some project. Really, this is all volunteering, even Boy Scout, or I don't know, playing in a football team. These are all things that, or being, I don't know, a trainer for children or babysitting. All these things can be considered as, maybe not a job, not work experience, but can fall under volunteering. And of course, the GDPR. Then check the grammar, of course. Check this, save the CV in a nice, professional way, because sometimes, it's really, uncomfortable to see, the CV, with some crazy letters, or with, something, it's not really, just the name and the surname. That could be, the normal expectation. Here I'm adding you, and I will ask, of course, Luigi and the staff to show, to send you these links, or maybe just do a screenshot. So these are all websites that can help you to create, some beautiful CV. Canva, you probably know it's not only for CV, it's for any kind of graphics. But then there are also some, specific for CV tools that, you have to pay for, the premium version, but sometimes you can always get the standard for free version. And then, it's also business. You will need to pay to, make updates, for example. Okay, I think our presentation came to an end. Yeah. So yeah, it's maybe time for some question, or maybe someone would like to volunteer, and we can comment together your CV, and you can share it, or we have still I think 10 minutes left for questions, and for we can talk about the motivation letter. I would like to hear from you now. Anyone? And if you cannot talk because you are on mute, just write. I think we will give you the space. Okay. Should I put one nice sentence on the CV, something like a slogan or something like the goal of my life? Absolutely, I like it. So, if there is a sentence who is really, you feel like your sentence, or maybe this is actually your sentence, put it there. Definitely, this is part of this section that we were talking in here about summary. Okay, so if you would like to summarize yourself with a sentence, this is great. Still, I will say, let's not just leave it like a sentence, right? Let's try to still tell something about ourselves. And we can also, if you see my LinkedIn, and actually I ask you, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. You will see that, I have in my intro 4 bullets who I am, what is, that I feel I'm bringing to an organization. I hope I managed to answer. Thank you. Hi. So Viviana is asking if we can talk about suggestion for the motivation letter, that would be appreciated. Yeah, of course. So I can maybe talk a little bit about it general. So guys, for me, motivation letter is really, it should not be too big or too let's say too extended. It should be just 1 page. It can be half page. So start really about intro, so who you are. So we come back to this, summary on the CV, but maybe a little bit more extended. And then, what does it mean, motivation letter? Motivation letter means saying what motivates you. What is your drive? What makes you happy? Okay, because at the end of the day, this job, it's something it should have a meaning for us, right? Because we're going to spend 8 hours or even more per day doing this. So what is that makes me happy? For some people, can be working with others, or interacting with others, or solving problems, or helping others. So me, I'm working, for example, every day with my team of 50 people, and I'm the manager, and I'm there for them. So to help them, to solve their problems, to guide them, to coach them, it motivates me. It's my mission. It's my drive. So really try to write according to your maybe short or mid, long experience, what drives you. So I give an example. Not everyone is done to sit 8 hours in front of a computer. It's actually what I'm doing every day. Maybe you are more for event management, that you need to make visit to this venue and talk with the supplier and meet the supplier. Business trips, you like business trips, maybe transition manager is your future. Or even running a restaurant, you need to stay standing. Basically, you will run all the time. Talk about really what is that you like, and of course be consistent, right? Try to really my recommendation is always try to connect the dots, because when I give you an example. Somebody is applying for front office work, so it means when you are interacting on daily basis with customers, for example, like account manager, or like sales support. And then during the interview, we'll say, I'm looking for a back office work, or my dream is my ideal work is a back office work. It's obvious that, you know, me as a manager, as a recruiter, I would say, okay, he applied for sales support, that is, you know, front office. You're going to talk every day with the customer and help them and guide them. But you would like to work, your ideal work is back office. Back office means basically only emails or only processing things. So without, let's say, this direct interaction with the customer, it's not coherent, obviously, right? So at least, you know, leave, if you don't know really what you want, leave the door open. So you can say, I will love to do this, but I'm also open to different challenges like this and that. So for example, Viviana, do you have some specific question, or did I manage to inspire you a little bit, motivate you on this motivation letter? It's a pity I cannot hear you, but I can read you. Okay, thank you, Viviana. And once again, if you really want to go deeper, feel free to also write me. I'm happy, you know, to invest some time for, let's say, the learning areas. Students here, not so many, so I do it with pleasure. Anyone else? 6 minutes still, all yours. And maybe one more thing about this motivation letter for Viviana and for everyone. Not always is required. Sometimes is, let's say, not mandatory. And we tend, when something is not mandatory, to not do. My recommendation, if there is an option, do it and put it, because again, it will position you one step above those that will not put it. So it's not, I will not say that you are lazy if you don't do that, but, you know, if there is an option, do that, because again, it will be, you know, you will present yourself as somebody who is doing beyond the expectation, who likes to be, you know, over the band, the limit, the bar. Okay. Any other questions? Any CV, any LinkedIn that you would like to check together with me in these last 4 minutes? Simon, how can we have a better CV than others when this is a template to fill? Indeed. I mean, that's why I don't like templates, right? Still, you know, it's not about the form only, it's also about the content. So you can have a better CV when your contents, and we're talking about keywords and all what we discussed today, this will make a better CV. So this preparation, these hours of study and preparation and checks will for sure position you above others. But definitely, you know, my recommendation is, you know, make your personal version of the CV. So you know, of course, everybody that will use this platform will be a template, right? So in that case, the answer is, Simon, use the keywords and, you know, and invest more time in preparing it. So remember, it's not only about the form, but it's also about the content. It's not quantity, but also it's quality, what really makes the difference. I hope I answered. Okay, good. One more question, maybe? Any doubts? And guys, do you agree with everything what we spoke today? I really appreciate also feedback from you. You may have not, you know, completely understand or agree really with something I said. Feedback is the key nowadays. Thank you, Miriam. Okay, great. So you know what we are gonna do.
Hi, Marco.
Hello, hi, Catalina.
Sorry for the noise.
Sorry?
Okay, I want to give you a lot of thanks for the lesson. It was very important tips for better our CVs, and thanks to all to participate. We see the next Monday. Hope all they are there, and thanks for all the lesson.
Okay, thank you so much, Catalina. Muchísimas gracias.
Wait a minute. I see one more answer.
Oh,
from Viviana.
Yeah, it's a good feedback. Thank you, Viviana. So, Viviana, feel free to connect and share your CV if you would like an additional feedback. Happy to share with you and everyone else.
Thanks, Marco.
Thank you, Marco. Goodbye, everyone, and see you on Monday for the next session of the Learning Garage. We're gonna be together with Andrea to talk about LinkedIn again. So stay tuned and see you on Monday. Ciao.
Bye-bye.